Hey everyone, I'm going to go over the wheel rotation detection system at normal speed and hopefully answer any questions you had about its operation or you were confused about how it actually worked. So to start it off, I'm going to use a 3-layered thick cardboard circular piece. It's a tongue twister there. And the reason why we use a light weight piece is that the sack person has enough weight to actually push light objects, whereas if it was cement or stone, it wouldn't work. It would just take forever for it to rotate, might not even rotate at all. For the axle of the wheel, we use a dark matter wafer thin piece. With the grid on it, should be placed directly in the center of your wheel. And then with our dark matter tool stillet, we'll make the walls that the player runs within. And to complete the axle, we use a bolt that goes through the dark matter into our cardboard. And just verify that it's not wobbling around. It looks pretty straight to me. And we'll put a camera on it so you can see it a bit better now. That's one feature I hope they do have in Little Big Planet 2 is a hotkey to switch between the grid and not grid modes. That would be very handy for builders. Okay, so we're going to use green magnetic switches to detect green magnetic keys that are on our wheel. So let's start by putting the keys on our wheel. We'll put 4 keys, so at 4 quarters of the actual wheel, or equal distances from each other if you want to say that instead. Now somebody pointed out in my last video that you don't need 2 sets of sensor pads, which is true. Now it's only true if you have 4 magnetic keys or 2+ magnetic keys on the wheel. If you have only 1 magnetic key on the wheel, I would suggest using 2 sets of green magnetic switches to detect them. It just adds resolution and it's more sensitive. So this is the detection part right here that will allow us to start detecting which way the wheel's going. So when I have my green magnetic switch selected, I'll put it into one-shot mode. I'll make the radius as small as I can make it, and that's pretty much as small as it will go. So I'll place that down, and then I'll place the same one right below it. So now I have 2 identical green magnetic switches, right one on top of each other pretty much. Okay, now to explain the theory of how this will work. When I run to the right here, you'll notice that the bottom green magnetic key always turns on first. And then a couple, like maybe a second later, the top key will turn on. And that difference is what we're going to use to actually detect which way the wheel is rotating. So when I walk to the left, the top key will turn on first, and then the bottom key. So what we know now is that when I run to the right, my bottom key turns on, so I need that bottom key to be the piece that activates the indication that I'm going to the right. It's a little confusing, sorry about that. So we sort of differentiate the left and right motion by using emitters. And the objects they emit have a lifetime, and that's what we really depend upon, is that lifetime. So I'll put 2 emitters down. And you want the lifetime to be about half of a second, and you only want 1 to be emitted. And that's it. You don't need to worry about any other emitter options, other than the object you emit, of course. So we'll go ahead and make that right now. I'll use a 2x2 dissolve piece. I don't know, I like dissolve material for some reason. It's got lots of features you can control. I like to use a red key and a blue key for this particular example. Now I've copied that object by pushing the L3 button, or pushing the left joystick in. Okay, so now we have our red magnetic key dissolve block and our blue magnetic key dissolve block. We'll copy those into our inventory. Alright, now that those are in our inventory, we'll just delete them. So I'll have my first one emit the red magnetic key dissolve block, or whatever you want to call it. It would have been nice if you could just emit the key itself without having to emit another piece of material with it. Okay. And the last one will be our blue magnetic key. That's a lot of stuff I have in my inventory. Yeah. Okay, again, we're going to want to set the emitter options because we didn't do that before. It'll be half of a second lifetime, so 0.5 seconds, and 1 unit at a time. And the last thing we need to do is add a blue switch and a red switch. Okay, and now to connect our wheel rotation detection sensor to the emitters, just make sure you don't attach both one magnetic key to both emitters, one per emitter, and then you can fine tune it and actually figure out which way it's causing it to react. So when I walk, the bottom one gets activated and emits our blue object. And I'm just going to change the camera so you can see it a bit better. So as I walk to the right, I turn on my my bottom green magnetic switch, which turns on the blue emitter, and emit a blue object. So now I know that I'm walking to the right. It will always be blue. When I walk to the left, I'll hit my top switch, which will activate my red emitter, and I'll always know I'm going to the left. And that's how you differentiate between. That's how the wheel rotation detection works, essentially. And then you could change your green switch or your blue switch and your red switch to directional mode and put that into a three-way switch. And that's what I used for Little Street Fighter, and it worked really well, except you have to depend on a piston at that point, which doesn't work really well. So it's a give and take sort of situation. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. The other thing is, keep note, was when you're running in one direction really fast and you change direction the other way, you're going to have sometimes a half of a second delay to wait for that first blue object to go away. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If it's not reacting right away, that's the reason why. So blue, 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 and then, okay, that went well. So if they transition from red to blue, there should be a half-second wait. Yeah. So it all depends on your timing. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Anyways, thanks for watching. See ya.